Welcome back to another episode of Doors. I'm your host, Jennifer, and I am so incredibly happy you've decided to hang out with us today. Whether you're commuting, doing the dishes, or hopefully sitting down with a cup of coffee ready to take notes, today's episode is a game changer.
It really is. I'm so happy to be here, Jennifer.
Everyone, this is Sarah. She's a productivity specialist, a learning coach, and basically the person I call when I feel like I'm working 12 hours a day, but getting absolutely nothing done. Sarah, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. And don't worry, that busy but not productive feeling is something almost everyone experiences. We're going to fix that today.
Oh, thank God, because I was looking at my old English notebooks the other day, Sarah, and they are beautiful. I used 5 different colors of highlighters, I had stickers, I wrote everything in cursive, and I realized I remember about 10% of what is in those books. What went wrong? The beautiful notebook trap. It's a classic. You were doing what we call passive learning. You were focused on the process of making things look good, which feels satisfying, but your brain was essentially on autopilot. Intrigued? Autopilot. Explain that. Well, when you just read and highlight, you aren't challenging your brain. It's like a copy-paste function. Your eyes see the word, your hand moves the pen, but the information never actually parks in your long-term memory. It just stays in the waiting room and then leaves. So my brain was just showing the vocabulary the door? That's literally the name of the podcast. Exactly. Your brain is a bit lazy. It wants to save energy. If it thinks, oh, I can just look at this page again later, it won't bother storing it. Okay, so how do we force it to store the info? I've heard you talk about active recall. It sounds a bit technical. Break it down for us. It's actually very simple, but it's the hardest thing to do because it requires effort. Active recall is the act of testing yourself. Instead of reading a list of 20 English verbs, you look at the Portuguese word, cover the English side, and force your brain to find the answer. Right, like when you're trying to remember the name of an actor in a movie and it's on the tip of your tongue. Yes, that struggle to remember, that's actually where the learning happens. Most students hate that feeling, so they look at the answer immediately. But if you look at the answer too soon, you kill the learning process. You have to sit in that uncomfortable silence for a few seconds. That makes so much sense. I used to do that with my students. I'd ask a question and they'd look at me with panic, and I'd want to help them, so I'd give them the answer. But I was actually stopping them from learning, wasn't I? In a way, yes. We call it desirable difficulty. Learning should feel a little bit like a workout for your brain. If you go to the gym and lift weights that are as light as a feather, your muscles won't grow. You need a bit of resistance. I love that. So I need to start lifting heavy vocabulary. I love that. Now, what about the people who say they have a bad memory? I hear this all the time. Jennifer, I learn a word and then 2 days later, it's gone. That's not a bad memory. That's just science. There's something called the forgetting curve, discovered by a guy named Hermann Ebbinghaus. He showed that within 24 hours, we forget about 50 to 70% of what we learned. Within a week, it's almost all gone. That is so depressing, Sarah. Why do we even try? Don't give up yet. There's a hack for the curve: spaced repetition. If you review that word 10 minutes after learning it, then 24 hours later, then 3 days later, then a week later, every time you review it, the curve gets flatter. You're telling your brain, hey, this word is important. Stop deleting it. Oh, I see. It's like building a path in a forest. If you walk it once, the grass grows back. If you walk it every day, it becomes a permanent trail. And that's a perfect analogy. And the best part is, you don't need to spend hours doing it. This is where the consistency beats intensity rule comes in. 5 minutes a day is better than 5 hours once a week. I'm a huge fan of that. I call it micro-studying. But Sarah, let's be real. Even 5 minutes is hard when your phone is buzzing. I'll be honest with the listeners. Yesterday, I sat down to study some French, and I ended up watching a video of a dog riding a skateboard for 20 minutes. We've all been there. The dopamine loop is real. Your phone is designed by thousands of engineers to keep you distracted. You can't win that fight with willpower alone. So, what do we do? Do we throw the phone out the window? Maybe, but a cheaper version is the out of sight, out of mind rule. If your phone is in the same room, your brain is actually using CPU power to not check it. You are literally getting dumber just by having the phone on your desk. Wait, really? Even if it's turned off? There's a study that proves it. It's called brain drain. The mere presence of a smartphone reduces available cognitive capacity. So if you want to study English, put your phone in the kitchen, put it in a drawer, or give it to your roommate and tell them, don't give this back to me for 30 minutes. My phone is going to have a very lonely life from now on. Okay, so we've got active recall, spaced repetition, and no phones. What about the Pomodoro technique? I see that everywhere on YouTube. I love Pomodoro, but people often do the breaks wrong. The idea is 25 minutes of total deep focus and then a 5-minute break. But Jennifer, what do most people do during that break? They check their phone? Exactly, and that's the mistake. Your brain needs diffuse mode. This is the time when your brain wanders and starts making connections between what you just learned. If you jump straight onto social media, you're just overloading your brain with more information. You're not giving it a break, you're giving it a different job. So, what should a real break look like? Simply stand up, stretch, drink a glass of water, stare out the window, do the dishes, anything that doesn't involve a screen. It feels boring, but that boredom is where the magic happens. Your brain is literally filing the information into the right folders while you're staring at that tree outside. Staring at trees. Okay, I can do that. Now, Sarah, let's talk about something that I think is very underrated: sleep. I remember in university, people were almost proud of staying up all night to study. We called them all-nighters. Is that actually a good idea? It's the worst thing you can do for your brain. It's like trying to run a marathon on a broken leg. Sleep is when memory consolidation happens. It's when your brain moves things from the short-term inbox to the long-term hard drive. So if I don't sleep, the information just stays in the inbox? Exactly, and eventually the inbox gets full and starts deleting things to make room. If you pull an all-nighter, you might remember enough for the test at 8 a.m., but by 8 p.m. that night, most of it is gone. For language learners, this is a disaster because you need to remember those words next month, next year. That explains so much. I used to study so hard at 2 a.m., and the next day I felt like I had never seen those words before. Exactly. 8 hours of sleep is a study tool. It's not a luxury. It's part of the process. Okay, I'm taking notes. Let's talk about the environment. I've seen those study with me videos. You know, the ones with the lo-fi music, the candles, and the rain sounds. Does that actually help, or is it just for the aesthetic? A bit of both. The aesthetic can help you want to sit down, which is half the battle. But there's a scientific concept called context-dependent memory. Your brain associates your surroundings with the task. If you always study English at a specific desk with a specific candle burning, eventually just smelling that candle will put your brain into English mode. So I need an English candle. I love that idea. What about music? I always have music playing when I work. Is that bad? It depends. If the music has lyrics, especially lyrics in the language you are trying to study, it's a problem. Your brain's language center is trying to process the lyrics and the grammar at the same time. It's like trying to listen to two people talking to you at once. Oh, that's why I can't write emails while listening to podcasts. Exactly. Use instrumental music, lo-fi beats, or white noise, something that masks background sounds but doesn't compete for your attention. Got it. No lyrics. Now, Sarah, before we move to the next part, I have to ask about the Fineman technique. I've seen people calling it the ultimate study hack. What is it? Oh, I love this one. It's named after Richard Feynman, a famous physicist. The idea is if you want to know if you really understand something, try to explain it to a child or someone who knows nothing about the subject. Explain it like I'm 5? Exactly. If you can't explain a grammar rule or a concept without using big jargon words, then you don't actually understand it. You're just repeating what the book said. When you simplify it, you force your brain to understand the core of the idea. I'm going to start explaining the present perfect to my 5-year-old nephew. He's going to be so confused, but I'm going to be an expert. He might actually learn something too. Guys, this has been an absolute goldmine. Sarah, thank you so much for this first part of our chat. I feel like I have a whole new toolkit for my studies. My pleasure, Jennifer. Remember, it's not about being a genius, it's about being smart with your time. Exactly. Now, don't go anywhere. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, I will take the lead to explain some of these amazing words and expressions Sarah used. We're talking about desirable difficulty, the forgetting curve, and many more. Stay tuned.